This video is sponsored by the Excelsior Sporting Club, Lion Paw Security Services and Sigma Sports Management. This is James Lux and I'm here with Eddie Lamb. Eddie, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks, James. You're good?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, mate. Very good. I wanted to get you on today, talk a little bit about your boxing journey, really.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll go back to the start. Amateur career, you boxed at Fitzroy Lodge. I think it's 56 fights you had.
Yeah.
Take me back before that, when you first went into the gym, why? And do you remember your first day in the gym?
Yeah, I was thinking about it today. The first ever gym I went to was the Lonsdale gym. I don't know if you heard of the stories of the Lonsdale shop on Beak Street with Bernard Hart and Denny Mancini, but they had a gym on Carnaby Street, yeah, and it was it was just for like in the daytime it was recreational. They had a load of pros go there in the there was always pros in there. Like I'd see who was it? Kirkland Laing was there training, Gary Kidd Jacobs, Lloyd Hannigan, and Bobby Neal would be the coach there. I never wanted to be a fighter. I just wanted to do a little bit of training and say I was a fighter.
Was you a boxing fan?
Yeah, I was a boxing fan from the age of like 11 years old. I wanted to box, but my parents, like my mum was a bit strict on it. She thought I'd get into trouble. She didn't want me to go down that route. But I kept the dream alive till I was like 15 years old. And I packed my bags, bag on the shoulder, went out there, and I see like a sign outside the gym, boxing session 450. And in them days, there wasn't much recreational boxing. So, like I said, I just wanted to go down, do a few sessions, and tell everyone I was a boxer. But I met a guy there, Speedy Mitchell, who trained Ian John Lewis, and me and Ian are still good friends to this day. Ian John Lewis, the referee. So I used to watch all Ian's fights, and he took me into his stable.
When you So when you started down, you saw the pros, your Kirkland Laing, your Gary Jacobs, you mentioned there. What was that like? Was you ever sort of starstruck? Was you in amazement of seeing these guys training as a professional?
Yeah, definitely. That was unreal. Like Kirkland Laing, I used to see him on the floor to ceiling ball, and I couldn't believe how he didn't even have a guard. His hands was by his waist, and he used to just hit with, throw shots from his waist. God, how did he do that? I remember Bobby Neal, and he took me on the pads a couple of times. And one thing he always said to me, all these fighters fought with low hands, good head movement. Bobby said, son, do you know what your best defense is? He goes, no, Bobby. He said, your eyes are your best defense. That's what he used to tell me. And I still remember that phrase. I tell my fighters the same thing to this day.
Did you ever try to imitate any of these pros when you started out?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I used to copy them and that. But do you know what? I wasn't good at. I wasn't a good like my other coach Al Smith in the gym. He's good. You can in the gym. You could do a Mike Tyson impression. You can tell it or Oscar De La Hoya. You say, "Oh, now do Canelo," and he could pull them all off. But I wasn't good technically like that. I was I just like to, I used to just get myself fit and just liked having a fight. I liked having a terror. But now, like these days, in my second career, being a coach, I like to find it all out. I like to all the technical side of it now because I never done it when I was a fighter.
Talk about your amateur career. Firstly, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the fighting? And what are your accolades?
So I met I trained like Speedy Mitchell. He was my first coach, and he took me down to Medway. And the idea was to turn me pro, have a few amateurs. So my first coach was Bobby and Billy Beck down at Medway Golden Gloves. I had about 10 fights there. Then I moved on to Eltham and about another 10 fights with them. The all good trainers, Richard Atkins, Paul Fitzgerald, trained me down there. And then I done the rest of my years down at Fitzroy Lodge. I was there for the next, I think, 10 years or 10 or 14 years, something like that. I had 56 fights. I would say I was quite good. you know. Won some, lost some. I got to the London final. Stephen Smith boxed my ears off. 1994. I had no brains, but I got to number 4. I got to number 4 in the British rankings in the boxing news, and that was my claim to fame. But you know, I was quite good. But there's good, and then there's good. I wouldn't have, you know. And in the gym at the moment, the guys and girls I've got in there are exceptional. You know, I wouldn't be able to lace their gloves up.
Absolutely. You mentioned there you was at Fitzroy Lodge and you sort of settled there 10 to 14 years after moving about to a couple of other gyms. Why Fitzroy Lodge? What was it that was so special about that place for you?
To the history of the club, I think, and he had great sparring there. Yeah, very good sparring. The sparring was like a fight. So like when you went out to fight, you like. I used to have a guy I used to spar with, Marcus McRae. He knocked my 2 front teeth out. I wear dentures to this day. And he boxed in the night. He got to the ABA finals in 1994. Yeah, 1994. Joe Kawasaki won, I think it was a welterweight or light middleweight final in the same year. But in the boxing news, the only person they was talking about was Marcus McRae. He was unreal. He beat Dean Pivy on the way. Marlon Ward, Colo Malusi, some good fighters, and yeah, he was a standout. But every night he used to beat me up. I was his sparring partner, and like some nights I thought, "Kai, he's not in tonight. Kai, I'll have a night off." And then you'd see the door open, and Marcus would walk in, or not again. So like the fights were easier than the sparring. So when you went out to fight, it was like a field day.
You never turned professional. You obviously still just a coach. What was it about coaching that you wanted to get involved in? At what point in your life did you decide you wanted to start coaching?
I always wanted to, in about 2000, my first amateur fight in 1989, 1988, sorry. My last one was 2002. But like, I thought, you know, I'd pack it up and do something else. But I always found myself going back to the gym and seeing my coach, Mick Carnage, you know. He was like a father figure to me. So, yeah, I always found myself back in there. And then I'd be helping out. And then he got me my amateur boxing badges. I helped out down at Fitzroy Lodge. But then it was a little bit far for me to go. And then congestion charge came in. And, you know, it would be costing me too much money. So there was a gym down near me, Keddle's Gym. And I helped open their amateur club there. Got them affiliated and done a couple of years there. And then Al Smith was training Sam Webb. Lewis Petit was just about to turn pro, and Bradley Skeet was just about to turn pro. And he said, any chance you come down and give me a hand there? And I started helping him out. That was in 2008, something like that. So the first corner I done was Sam Webb's British title defense against Martin Concepcion in 2010. So I've been a pro coach now for 13 years.
And looking back at the last 13 years as a pro coach, how would you describe your journey so far?
No, I've had some great memories, you know, some great memories. I've won, you know, I've had 8 Southern Area champions. I've been in the corner of like 4 English champions, 4 British champions, a Cup Commonwealth. The only thing that I haven't had is an EBU champion and a world champion. But that's my next goal, or our next goal down the gym.
Absolutely. And the current crop, it's a fantastic bunch of youngsters, you know, a lot of prospects in there, some fantastic fighters. And one you work very closely with at the moment is Skye Nicholson.
Yeah.
Launching a world title, you know, potentially Skye is the next person in your gym to go for that world title glory. What's it been like working with Skye and the current group of people in there?
Yeah, it's been great. You know, like Skye, she only lives just around the corner from us, down in Bromley. So when she moved from Australia to here, so she's like, no, she's always in and out of here. So she's like part of the family, Skye. So we took her in as part of the family. But she's great to train. She's great fun. She's a great girl. You know, like Skye, she take away all the media stuff, the social media, and the photo shoots, and you know, the film star looks and that. She's a real fighter. She had 150 amateur fights. She's now had 8 pro fights. She's boxing 5 different countries. 8 unanimous decision wins, and 3 title belts. That's hard to do. You know, she's a real fighter, and she likes, more than anything, she likes to punch people in the face.
Absolutely. When you first started, you know, you mentioned about 1988, 89, you started out as an amateur and also through. I can't imagine there's an awful lot of women and girls coming into the gyms when you was a youngster as an amateur. Just talk about the development and the transition and the change in the female boxing game now.
Yeah, the first one, we had one down the lodge. Her name was Linda van der Berg, and that was about 1995, 96. We first had the, and she made the papers, front news of the newspapers and everything. Yeah, but in them days, no, hardly any, no. So it's good because, you know, everything's more like diverse now. Yeah, and yeah, it's got equal opportunities. It's great, I think.
No, definitely. And last couple of questions here, a few quick fire ones, Eddie. Who would you say is the most talented person you've worked with, or who's made you say wow the most?
Oh, that's a hard one. Do you know, like, I used to spar with David Haye every night as a kid down the Fitzroy Lodge. We was teammates. So, you know, I've got a crop in the gym at the moment. They're all good, and me and Al always say, like, this could be the dark horse, and we have like little bets on who we think will come through, but you can never tell because you don't know how each one's going to develop. But like I said, I worked with David Haye, and I used to spar with him. Nearly every night as 11-year-old. He was the same weight as me, 57 kilos, and he hit like a man. Like, people think, oh yeah, you just move around with 11-year-old. No, they were all out wars, because if I didn't hit him hard, you'd get hurt, you know. So they were hard spars against an 11-year-old, and I've got no shame in saying that. I remember saying to my friend once, Stanley, he boxed for England, good boxer. I remember I was down at the Lynn Club, as it goes. It was a London training squad, and I said to him one morning, I said, "Is that kid not bad, or am I getting worse?" And that kid ended up heavyweight champion of the world.
What's that like to, you know, spar someone like David Haye? And like you mentioned, at such a young age, you can already see that talent. What was that like?
Then that was the first time I seen it. Like, I was only 21 years at the time. Do you know, 21 years old at the time. I'd only been in the game, like, so I started late, 4 years. But he developed a great jab by the age of 14. So I knew him in the gym from 10 years old. He developed this fast jab, and he was growing by the minute. But he was just exceptionally strong. He had a man's strength at 11 years old.
Perfect. And who's been, I mentioned who's been the most wow factor for you? Who's the hardest worker that you've come across?
Hardest worker. They all work hard in the gym. Dennis says he does, but they all work hard in the gym. I can't pick one out. But like I said, they're all there for a reason. There's a reason why they're all so good. They're all like, they're multi-titled in the amateurs, and there's a reason for it. There's no there's a reason why they're so good. They all work so hard, and they're all so dedicated.
Last question, you mentioned there, Dennis McCann, a fantastic talent. You know, this is a kid who, when he turned professional, everybody's raving about him. So he's going to go to the very, very top. Just how high is Dennis's ceiling?
Dennis is exceptionally good. Yeah. I think he can go all the way. I definitely think he could go all the way. His IQ is exceptional, And if anything, maybe he just needs to mature physically, I think. Next couple of years. But Balut is a genuine world-class fighter. That was a hard fight. But I think Dennis wants him next. He wants him before the end of the year. But yeah, I think, you know, Dennis would, you know, I think he could turn it around. I think he gets him next time. I think he beats him next time. Dennis, like I said, he's very clever. He's got good IQ, and I think he'll get the tactics right next time. Although last time was a draw, he didn't lose. It was a draw, but he can box better than that.
How did he take that result? So it's the first blip on his record.
Yeah, he was a very disappointed Dennis. He's a winner, do you know what I mean? So he didn't take that too well. But like I said, he's a winner. They're all like that. That all the guys and the girls in the gym, they're perfectionists. They have to get it right every time.
Absolutely. With your guidance from yourself and Al Smith, they're not going to go far wrong. Eddie, thank you very much for your time. I'll let you go and get on to your evening. I appreciate it. It's always good speaking to you.
Thanks for interviewing me, James. Good man. Thank you.
No worries at all, mate.